Hi, Chrissy. So your name is Chrissy Ortner, not one of the Ortners from America, but a famous Ortner from here.
Famous Ortner, yes.
So you are an EFT practitioner, and you also have other qualifications.
Yep.
What do you do?
So my background was in educational psychology. I'm not an educational psychologist. I never registered. Mainly because I just found there were so many more effective techniques in working with people than a lot of the psychological interventions. So I started off with counselling and just thought, it's not really getting to the nitty-gritty. It's just rehashing what people's fears or distress over and over. And when I'd had counselling myself, I didn't really feel it had resolved a whole heap of issues. So I ended up training in massage therapy, acupressure points specifically, with Thai massage. I also trained in Reiki, in healing, and NLP, and then got interested in hypnotherapy as well when I was having kids and the whole hypnobirth process. And working with hypnobirthing women, just discovered so many women that had birth trauma and thought, how can I work with this more effectively? And that's when I became interested in EFT. I originally, between the birth of my two children, I'd had a miscarriage. And just before then, I'd been to an introduction to EFT. And whilst having the miscarriage, I was in so much pain and distress. I thought, what can I do? So I started tapping, and I went from complete pain, overwhelm, trauma to just having this amazing sort of enlightening experience, really, where I came to complete resolution with it and a state of bliss. And I thought, wow, this is really effective.
And so you've gone on to be certified as an EFT Universe practitioner.
Yay!
And you've also done quantum EFT for the soul.
I have.
I know we were speaking recently and you were talking about how you were working with a lady from Victims of Crime. Tell us a little bit about how you got into working with victims of crime.
Well, the first time it was actually by accident. One of my massage clients mentioned that she'd been through victims of crime and was using one of the payments for her massage therapy. And I said, tell me more about this. I've never heard of it. And she said, well, they've given me a lump sum of money that I can use to spend on any sort of therapy I need. And then she said, what else do you do? And I mentioned the EFT and the hypnotherapy, and she was like, oh, that's really interesting. Maybe I'll divert some of the money towards doing some more in-depth sessions with you, because counselling's great, but there's still a lot of issues that I can't even really talk about to my counsellor. And that was working on domestic violence, and it was also working on a history of child abuse. So that's been really beneficial, doing the EFT with her to resolve some of the trauma. And then I started to think about, maybe there's more of an opening for that. Then I worked with a lady at a festival who'd had an experience of violence in the workplace, and I suggested to her, because she was deep in trauma with that perhaps she could investigate victims of crime payments to see if she could get extra therapy and support. And so she went through that process to find out more about it, and then got back to me and said, hey, I've got some money, let's do some more work on this. And just been finding out more about other clients as well that have phoned me up and have either gone through the process or I've suggested that they investigate more. It's been
fantastic.
Good.
And tell us a little bit. I know you've done a few festivals now. So what's that like when you do a festival, and what sort of festivals have you done, and how long are your sessions? Get to the point
Yeah.
session?
I've been working with the Seven Sisters Festival, and I've done it 2 years in a row now as a therapist. You buy your slot to be there, and once you turn up for your shifts, you do get a refund of some of that money. And it's done by donation. So each person gets, I believe 20 minutes. But by the time they're actually sat in the chair and you've introduced yourself and, you know, done a little bit of like, why are you here? What do you need to see me for? You really only have 15 minutes of actually working with the clients. So it can range from anxiety to depression to, I've worked with people with fibromyalgia, chronic pain issues, childhood sexual abuse. It's incredible what gets thrown at you. And you've got 15 minutes to give these people first a tool that they can use when they leave you.
Yes.
So you've got to teach them, but you've also got to do a little bit of work as well and dive in as deep as you can and then sneak away as quickly as you can. But it really makes you tune in very, very quickly to that person's needs.
Yeah.
And trust as well. Trust has been a really big one, that you are equipped to provide them with what they need in that moment, and it will all be okay. So I've had some fantastic results with that.
Well, thank you for telling us a little bit about the work that you do, and I hope more EFT practitioners out there will follow your lead, look at victims of crime if they want to help particularly women who have been victims of crime, and also working in the sort of festivals or events where they can sit down and do 20 minutes of EFT and actually make a difference. And also helps them to tune into, let's get to the point and let's get all of the aspects and the memory and clear as much of it up as we can in that 15-20 minutes.
Absolutely. There's also a really good opportunity to present and host a workshop at festivals as well, and work with bigger groups and just teaching them the basics. I've also done sessions for people in a festival environment where we've just worked on migraine issues. So I got a group of people together and we've all tapped on migraines and the different aspects and the different triggers that people have. It's been really fun. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for being an EFT practitioner out there, not just for yourself in your own practice, but out there in presenting to festivals and events. I know myself, I've presented to many hypnotherapists and occupational therapists, and it always opens their minds, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Thank you, Jenny. Bye.